All right, hey guys, Ronin Man here. Today, going to talk about pregnancy. Frickin' pregnancy. It is the most dangerous thing that a man can have happen. If you start a business and you lose the business, you only lose the time that you invested in that business, right? And most things in life are like that. You know, you go to school, you study the wrong thing, you lose like 4 years of, whatever, your time, right? But marriage and pregnancy is not one of these things. It's a completely different thing. It's a crime. The punishment never ends. So if it goes wrong, you have to pay the price, basically. So pregnancy, it's really guys' biggest, what do you call it? Like the most dangerous thing for guys, really. They should really train guys. It's really kind of disgusting to me that society doesn't, they'll go into great detail about something that doesn't matter at all. Studying some subject or whatever in school. And they won't tell you that pregnancy is the one thing that can basically trap a man and make his life completely different than he planned. And, forced to be with somebody that he doesn't like. Raising a kid he doesn't want, living in a place he doesn't want to live in, working at a job, because it's all affected. I mean, pregnancy affects what job you can have, right? If you have kids to feed, you're not going to be lipping off to your boss. You're not going to be, you basically are going to be a good little worker bee. That's what you're going to do. If you got kids, you got to be a good little worker bee, and actually, if you do have kids, I recommend that. I mean, you got to do it, right? It's like someone's got to pay for the kids, and if you take too many risks, you're definitely going to come up snake eyes sometimes, and the kids won't have anything to eat. So there is a lot of logic to it. But as a guy, if you just realize this is what society should be telling guys, is like the number one thing, the most important thing for a guy of all, is that he does not get any women pregnant. That is the number one thing. If you just don't get girls pregnant your whole life, you really won in many ways. You avoided so much pain that you don't even know about, right? There was a girl came into town with a friend of mine, and I'm telling you, man, this bitch, the minute she got a baby, she was just a nightmare. I mean, some women are just not meant to be mothers, Like they just don't have that maternal instinct, and they just use the kids completely as a tool to get what they want. There's no sense of right and wrong, fair. There's no sense of even loving the kid, In fact, she even said directly that she does not love the kid, and she was going to threaten to leave the kid in the hotel and leave the country. I mean, this is the kind of thing when you have a kid, the kid is going to be, you can't control if he's going to be healthy or not. You can't control what he thinks. You can't control who he becomes. But the mother is even less in control. Once you tie that knot with that kid, it just intertwines your two lives together forever. There's really nothing like it. Pregnancy, it's the one thing that guys have no say-so about, like when you give her your sperm, and then you give her your sperm, right? So then the baby is half your baby, right? And half hers, right? But when it's inside her body, the way society looks at it, I'm sure you're well aware. I'm just saying this because it's interesting. Society thinks that it's completely her body. Right, so think about this. What's important? The baby. Okay? What is the baby made of? It's made of half your genes and half of her genes. Right? So now, whose body is it in? It's in the woman's body. But now, when women say my body, my women's body, I control my body, right? Okay, true. I control my body. But what about something, if I'm holding a baby, then it's not just my body, right? Let's just say I'm holding a baby in my arms. Then I say, oh, it's my body. I'm going to jump off a cliff and kill myself. And then you say, well, it's not just you. You have a baby there, right? in your arms. Put down the baby, you know. And when a woman has a baby in her body, all of a sudden, it's like her body completely. It doesn't matter. There's no other people in there. There's no, anything that, you're half of that baby, genetic offspring. It does not count at all in the society's eyes. It's really a crazy situation. I mean, it's crazy because I personally really love kids. I think they're great, and I think kids are super awesome actually. And kids always like me, and I'm like a big kid myself. You know, I love playing with kids, and I love teaching kids stuff. You know, and just kids are cool. They learn really quickly. They're fun. You know, all my any kids in my life, I really enjoy them so much, and I miss them when I'm not around them. You know. But so we're not talking about that. We're not talking about, kids are no good. What I'm saying is that kid is used against you. It's used against you. You lose total ability to control your own life once that kid comes out, right? So, or actually once she's pregnant, I should say. The moment she's pregnant, you lose total say-so and everything. And it's really a good thing to get used to, because once you do. Once she does get control and you lose control, it's good to just be aware. Don't kid yourself like it's like a shared thing, husband and wife. No, man, it's wife 100%. It's 100% for as far as the effort. You got to give massive effort for that kid, but as far as like the right of what you're going to do with it, you don't have that. As a guy, only if she somehow passed away, and then you still had the kid, then you would have, complete parental rights, because no other woman can come in and take that kid the same way that the mother can. But as far as if you are with the biological mother, and she has a baby, that baby is her baby. So guys don't have babies is the first thing. I mean, they don't have kids. They're just they're like daddy uncle, right? It's the kids still belong totally to the mother, and that's the way it is. They belong to the mother, and hey, so it's that's kind of the way it is. So it's kind of a sad situation for guys that they don't have this. We don't have that control, and it's with a really heavy heart that I don't have kids myself, because I really do love kids. I really do. And if I had a fair shake at having kids, I wouldn't mind having kids. I'd like to have a little junior running around. That sounds like a lot of fun. And I always think of different ways that I could do it without compromising, without taking massive risks with my life. Because I guess some people would listen to this and say, oh yeah, hey, my friend has kids. He's totally happy. His wife is awesome. Yeah, okay, true. Some people are like that, but you have to remember that these are the exceptions. Most marriages end up in divorce, and you can't predict if yours is going to be one, because it has almost nothing to do with if you're a good person and if you try hard. It's like, so many things can happen, and that's why it's a 50%, right? That's why it's a 50%, and women obviously instigate most divorces. I don't have the exact figures right now, but it's something like 70-80% are instigated by women. So women pressure you to marry, pressure you to have a baby, and then they get that baby, they own that baby. Then women divorce and leave the guy paying the bills for this baby. So basically, she wanted the baby, she wanted that, you gave her that. Then as soon as you give her that, you have to give her money, and then if she decides that she wants another guy, she's not happy, she wants to live in another country, or she wants to do something new, she wants something different, then you just have to just shut the fuck up, because all you can do is just hand her money. That's your only job anymore, is to send her money to go with her new boyfriend or whatever. And there's a lot of people who in this world, and just listening to myself talk, who would listen to something like this and say, oh, these are bitter guys, MGTOWs are bitter guys, and they're angry and they can't get women, that they're unsuccessful, that's why they are like this, right? So basically it's a bunch of unfounded accusations about people as a general group, right? I can tell you this, I definitely am not unsuccessful with women, and I'm definitely not bitter. I've never had a baby, I don't have any children, and I don't have any bitterness about that. I didn't lose any children. I'm not paying for any alimony, palimony. Guys, I've been a MGTOW since like the early 90s, right? So I've been able to avoid, making that mistake of getting married and having a baby, right? I've been able to somehow, like my friends have been very close. We all talk the MGTOW shit our whole lives, and we're able to support each other, and it's really important to have guys that are on the same path, where they also, other guys who, basically have the same thinking, and you can trust them, because a lot of guys you just simply can't trust. If you take the average guy and you give him, you tell him the truth about women, oh my gosh, you're in for some serious trouble. He'll often turn you into your mother. You tell people, he thinks this, he thinks it's just like it's a heresy or something. I've had so many guys try to hurt me because of what I've tried to help them when it comes to women. So the reason why I say that is because it's almost like a weary voice. I've had so many guys that I've helped over the years, and they heard me, but they couldn't change. They didn't listen, so they went down the wrong road. And I'm going to give you one example here of a friend of mine. This is kind of an interesting one. Pregnancy story. Okay, so like I said, I've been hardcore MGTOW way before the word MGTOW was invented. I was reading The Predatory Female. I was reading The Manipulated Man. I gave out copies to my friends. I talked about it endlessly. It was before the internet, and I was just like relentless about this kind of stuff. And it was my way of not getting married, basically, because I had a lot of girlfriends, and they all wanted to marry, and it's like I needed to kind of I had my my defense was this whole thing, don't get married. My friends we'd help each other, not to fall into the trap. And so this guy was one of these guys, right? One of these friends that I had talked to a lot about this. So he comes up to me one day and he said, hey, my girlfriend's pregnant. And I said, oh, okay. What's up with that? What's going on? And he says, well, basically, because I know this guy's smart, he had a PhD, and there's no way, I was wondering what else was going on. So I said, so what's the deal? And he said, well, to be honest, she got pregnant when I was gone. So I was back home, and there's no way that I could have been the father. And I said, well, how long were you gone? It's 6 months. So basically she got pregnant, and so he came back and she was pregnant, and she convinced him. She got her doctor to help too. There's no shortage of gynocentric doctors out there, especially when it comes to doctors about babies and all this kind of they want to make sure the baby has money, has food, and they'll do anything they can do to help the women get the guys, especially in Japan where this was. And so he said to me, is it possible the sperm could live in there for 6 months? I was gone, is it possible that she got pregnant while I was gone? It just sat in there somehow. And I looked at him and I'm like, dude, you know the answer to that one. It's like, of course it's not possible, right? And he was like, I know. So then the next time I talked to him is a couple weeks later, right? And he said, same guy. And this guy's a perfect example of how guys basically can fool themselves, right? And so he said, oh yeah, she's pregnant, and I've done some research myself now on it, and it seems like the sperm can live in there pretty long, so I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt. And I'm like, John, his name's John, listen, dude, it's not possible, don't, you know what I mean, don't you can't kid me, dude. I'm it's fine if you want the kid, it's fine, that's great, but just don't lie to yourself, and he was kind of laughing, yeah, right. So then I didn't see him for a long time. I didn't see him on and off. We never really talked that much for a while. He was busy with the kid and all that. So I ran into him when I was back in Japan, and the kid was 15 actually, and he was introducing him as his son and this and that, and then when we got alone, he looked at me with a sly grin, and he said, he doesn't look anything like me, and he started laughing, and then I realized that, he was just at a point in his life where he was happy to settle down. And even though she lied to him and tricked him and the baby was not his, he was somewhat happy, I guess. It was like, that would be a good example for a woman, that they should trick guys, because this one rare guy was very happy about being tricked, but I don't think that's the way I want to be. I don't want that to happen to me, I definitely don't want, if a girl's pregnant and she wants me to take care of the kid, I mean, that's one thing. But it's another thing if she says it's mine, and it's not. I mean, that's just crazy. There's no way. I live my life looking for the truth, searching for the truth, and there's no way I could. For me, it would disgust me so much, a girl who did that I couldn't even look at her. You know what I mean? Like, it would just be so, because the consequences of babies are so serious, right? It basically means the rest of my life I'm tied to the kid. Whenever he has trouble, bail him out of jail. When he needs some kind of training, you help him out. He needs a down payment on a house, you give him a little help. You just do things for kids. This is just the way parents are. And good parents. And so I wouldn't want that to be on somewhat of a false premise, right? I just don't want that. That just doesn't make sense to me at all. And so that was one example. I remember one girl I had who, when I would have sex with her, she would try to trick me into coming inside of her. And I remember one time she was on top of me, and then she was riding me, and then she just all of a sudden grabbed my ass cheeks just as I was about to come, and it pulled really strongly too. I was really shocked. I wasn't using a condom, of course, and so then I had to yank her off my body. I just had to yank her, just throw her off me, because I wanted to not come inside her, right? So I did, and then she was like, "Oh, you're too smart. You didn't fall for it, or you didn't go for it, or whatever." But I got her off me and didn't get her pregnant, thank God. But these kind of things. I mean, guys, it's a war zone out there. It's a war zone. It is. When it comes to pregnancy, you had better imagine that you are in a war, and you're in a war with not just one girl. You're in a war with society, because society doesn't care about you when it comes to babies and women. They don't give a shit what you think. They don't care if it's fair. They don't care if you're happy. They don't care if it's your baby. They don't care about a hell of a lot of things when it comes to babies. All they care about is that society has another baby who's well taken care of, another healthy baby, and then they move on. It's like, okay, yeah, sure, but worse things happen to other guys, blah, 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 right? So don't let yourself be tricked into thinking you're just fighting her. You're kind of fighting thousands of years of history, because all the history of women tricking men into getting them pregnant is amazing, and then tricking them into doing other things. And I'll give you one example here from my life. When I was 19, I met this girl at a party. I'll tell you real quick. I met her at a party, and she was very sexy, which was unusual for me at the time. She had huge knockers, right? She was a really super attractive girl for by men's standards. And she actually wasn't my type. That's why I say men's standards. She wasn't. I like a different look. So either way, she was cool though. And so I was at a party, and she grabbed my hand, and she grabbed my hand. She was drunk, and I was drunk too. And she said, "Take me upstairs and fuck me," she said. And I had never heard anything like that before. At 19, that wasn't something I heard a lot. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was drunk, but I was still like, hey, this is kind of weird, So we got upstairs, did it. As soon as I came, she said, "I feel pregnant," when we were done. And I'm like, I'm not stupid. I'm like, geez, what is she talking about here? So then a couple of months later, she calls me, and we meet for dinner, and she said, "I'm pregnant. And my aunt is rich. She's going to take care of the baby." That's what she told me. So I was like, I was 19. I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. It just didn't seem like it was true. There was holes in this problem. There was holes in this thing. It wasn't fail safe. She was trying to make it look like, hey, you don't have to do shit. You don't just be a father. Have a baby. You're lucky. You're gonna have a baby. You won't have to pay any money. You won't have to do anything. You can just be a father. Here I am, 19 years old, sitting there eating my cake or Marie Callender's and just thinking, oh my God, what's going to happen to me? And so I didn't know what to say. And I realized that already at that young age, I realized I didn't have any say-so at all. She said, I'm pregnant, I'm keeping the baby. That's it. There's nothing I could say, even back then. And this is back in like 1984. So I was like, okay, right. So, okay. And then I just left. I knew there was nothing I could say. There's nothing I could say. So I was just like, okay. I probably said congratulations or something stupid, I didn't know what to say, right? So then after that, a couple of months later, she had a miscarriage and lost the baby. And, I remember thinking like about that. And all these years I've thought about this one. And I thought about what would have really happened if she really was pregnant. And I can tell you exactly what I think would have happened. What would have happened is her parents knew me, right? Because I was dating her, right? And after that. And so then they would have said, she would have told them, she would have said, oh, hey, guys, by the way, I'm pregnant. And, Paul's the father. And I'm going to have the baby. And, aunt whatever is going to pay for it. And so I told Paul he doesn't have to do anything. Well, I guarantee what happened next is her parents would have said, is that so? Well, let's invite old Paul over for a little steak dinner here. So have me over, and then say, hey, Paul, congratulations. Here's some steak and here's some wine, And, if you ever need any help in business or any kind of introductions or help, or you need some school supplies or whatever, yeah, let us get it. We're all one big happy family. We all support everybody and all that, And if you guys need to buy a house or something, I help you out with the down payment a bit, get you going, get you going there, but just fulfill your responsibilities as a man, And then she would say something like, "Oh, Dad, I already told him he doesn't have to do anything," And they'd say, "We know what you told him, but that's not the way the world is. A guy gets a woman pregnant, he has to be the father. That's the way it is. He's got to fulfill his job, his duty, right?" And so. After that, what would have happened is I would have come home and my mom would have been having dinner with her mom and her dad, and they would have said, "Paul, come in here, Here I am, 19, living at home, right? They'd have say, "Paul, come in here, so what is this about, you're pregnant and she's pregnant and you're not going to do anything about the baby. Is that what the hell's going to happen here? This ain't going to happen over my dead body. She's a nice girl and you're going to marry her, and support this kid, or at least you're going to support this kid." And I would have been like, the pressure on me from my grandparents, from my parents, from her, because she would change her mind. She'd be lonely, right? I mean, she definitely loved me. I know that. She was definitely liked me, right? So she eventually did grow fond of me. So it's like, we went to Europe together. We did all kinds of stuff together. So, definitely she would have been like, hey, I'm kind of lonely here in the hospital. Come by and visit, Her parents would have pressured me. Dude, what would have happened is I would have done exactly what every guy does, the traditional route. I would have married her. I would have supported the kid. And she probably would have divorced me for some other guy because she actually cheated on me once. She was the one girl who cheated on me. It's the only girl. She blew one of my friends in his truck during a company party. And that was the only time. She was the only girl that I remember that ever cheated on me. But it's not usual for me, and I just remembered that one. Yeah, she did actually. But so the thing is, she would have cheated on me much worse in real life. She would have, and I would have broken my heart and everything, and I would have paid for the kid. It would have been a total nightmare. But it would have started with this lie that I didn't have to do anything, And so when you're dealing with women, they're throwing the shit at you one by one, like one after the other, like a machine gun, right? Like they say that one day, and then you're like, okay. And you're kind of consent to having the baby, kind of like, you know what I mean? Like you're not too freaking out. Next thing you know, it's like you have to do it just like everybody else, and you need this, and they need this, and you know what I mean? So it's like, and I can almost say with 100% it wasn't my baby, because she said I feel pregnant after we had sex the first time. And that was fucking weird. Very weird. I never had a girl say that before. I feel pregnant. I mean, that was just ridiculously stupid thing to say, actually. So there you go. There's a couple of stories. I have so many more. The one grabbing my ass and squeezing, trying to get the cum to stay in there. I've seen girls rub cum on their pussies after we have sex. like they maybe have it in their mouth, and I've seen them rub it on their bodies and they say, oh, it feels so good, but they just seem to stay down with the pussy longer than usual, trying to get that sperm up there, and so if you have any like stories of girls trying to trick you into pregnancy, it's almost like an accepted thing. If you watch the Red Pill, in the Red Pill movie, they basically there's like a women's talk show, and she's like, who here is in favor of tricking guys into getting pregnant? And then they all go, yeah. She goes, this is my kind of people. They're all like, this is like a popular talk show, right? No, women, they have no mercy on this one. So you need guys' help. You need help, man. I need help. We need help, because these little hotties will just run us around and make it very tough for us, because they change the rules, they change the things they read. Also women read a lot of magazines and they get a lot of good advice, time-tested advice, whereas guys barely read anything about girls. They just basically like how to get them in bed, right? That's about the extent of what we read about girls. We're not sitting there reading about little 10 sexy things you can do on the weekend to bring your love alive again. It's like, no, we don't read that. We're just like, how to do her in the ass while you're, driving down the freeway and blah, blah, blah. That's the kind of thing we'd want to read. Oh, that looks interesting. I'd like to do that, So don't let down your guard. Pregnancy is your biggest enemy as a MGTOW and your biggest danger. So watch your ass, guys. It's a serious war out there, and we're all here to help. The community, myself, I take this shit very seriously. I'm not going to tell you what happened to my friend the other day because it was too serious and it was too personal for him. But let's just suffice to say, it was a nightmare scenario I was dealing with this week with my friend's situation, and I'm just very glad that I have good friends and that we can help each other, because if you don't have kids, you don't have family, your friends are your number one, and for me that's definitely the case. And friends I meet online too. I meet some of my best friends online. So I appreciate anybody here who's like got the same mindset and is listening and taking your time and getting grooving on this shit. I love it, man. Feel free to reach out anytime. You can get me on my the Facebook channel, which is Ronin Man, facebook.com/RoninMan. And you can leave a message, a comment. I'll always read all those comments. And either way, guys, have a good one, and be careful out there.